Hi everyone, I'm Sandy. You're listening to Chillify. If you've been following my recent posts on Instagram, my fan page, or YouTube, you've probably noticed a big change in my appearance. I cut off my very long hair. I chopped off over 35 centimeters, and that hair was donated to cancer patients. Sandy thinks this is a really meaningful act at the start of the year. Not only can I refresh myself, but I can also help others, which makes me incredibly happy. When I thought about cutting it and starting fresh, there was a bit of apprehension, because my hair was really beautiful. I thought it was healthy, shiny, and smooth. And sometimes when we change something that's already good, we fear the result might be worse. So I would sit and wonder, oh no, what if I cut my hair short and it looks terrible? After all, I'm a YouTuber, which means I have to care a lot about my image, right? I have to record videos and appear in front of you all, so I need to choose an image that suits me. So, worrying is always a part of it. You can't avoid it. I think that when we make a big change in life, there's bound to be a lot of worry. But I felt like I needed a new change, and I wanted to challenge myself with it. Even though I was a little scared, so what if it turned out bad? Hair grows back anyway. Eventually, it would look good again, even if it was a botched cut or whatever, right? But honestly, once I got the haircut, I realized, I wish I had done this sooner. First, washing long hair was exhausting. Now, every time I wash my hair, everything feels so light. When I work, there's no longer a heavy mass of hair weighing down my head. Second, I found a really good hairdresser, and I feel this haircut suits my face perfectly. I feel younger, a bit sexier for my age, and more distinctive. When I had long hair, you'd often compliment me, saying I was gentle, graceful, and soft-spoken. But that's only one part of my personality. I'm also a strong, straightforward, and outspoken girl, just like you might be. So, Sandy feels this haircut suits my personality much better. Don't be afraid to change if you're also yearning for a difference. A big change might turn out beautiful, or it might not. But if you never change, it'll always stay the same, right? Sandy doesn't necessarily think that cutting your hair is a massive breakthrough. But Sandy's point is, for more adventurous changes in life, other things related to work, finances, or relationships, sometimes you need to listen to your heart and try something that pushes you to step outside your comfort zone. Back then, I never thought I'd move to Saigon. In 2015, after a heartbreak, I took a trip to Saigon to distract myself and get over a recent breakup. For me, Saigon at that time felt really alien. It was bustling, not like anything I had known in Hanoi. It felt so strange and didn't suit me at all. I only saw the things I disliked about Saigon: snatch-thefts, fewer green trees, crowded and noisy streets. So right from the start, I didn't have a good impression of Saigon, not at all back in 2015. But in 2017, after graduation, I decided to move to Saigon by myself. Why? Well, life pushed me, or perhaps fate intervened, but honestly, it was a huge gamble for me. Of course, for some of you, moving from city to city or even studying abroad might be simple. But for a girl from central Vietnam like me, when I first moved to Hanoi, I was shocked by all the tall buildings. My world was that small, you see. So the decision to move to Saigon was a huge one, and it required a lot of courage because I didn't have many relatives here. I knew that once I moved, I'd have to try my best and get through lonely days all by myself. I was scared, I can't deny that. Something told me that I had to change, to go to a new environment and discover more about myself. My world at that time no longer suited me. Everything, including my relationships and even my job, while seemingly stable, wasn't truly right. So, if I hadn't changed, if I hadn't chosen to move to Saigon, I would never be the person I am today. Thinking about moving to a far-off city, where I'd have to spend a lot of money to fly back home, seemed like such a massive decision. Back in 2017, buying a plane ticket for 2 or 3 million dong was a huge deal. If I were in Hanoi, if I ever felt down, I could just take a bus home to my mom for only 200,000 dong. But now, even if I feel down, I have to pick myself up and try, because I can't just buy a 2 million dong ticket to go home to mom. It felt like a decision where I foresaw so many difficulties and so many fears. But ultimately, I thought I had to overcome those emotions and worries, conquer that fear, and step out of my comfort zone to grow. And no matter what happened, I would be the one to take responsibility for it. In this life, no one can stay by my side forever. Everyone is trying to live their own lives, and I don't want to depend on anyone. I want to be able to walk my own path. And if, along that path, I meet good friends and people who love me, then of course, that's something to cherish. I'm truly, truly grateful that in 2017, I decided to move to Saigon, to a completely new and unfamiliar environment, to a place where the food is very sweet and people are too used to drinking, all things I disliked. Especially, I was utterly terrified during the initial period when I encountered 2 snatch thefts. Luckily, I wasn't hurt. But I'm still incredibly thankful for my decision because I dared to step out of my comfort zone to do something new and challenge myself more. Gradually, over time, it's been over 4 years now that I've been in Saigon, and I've come to see many beautiful perspectives here. The warmth, love, and harmony of the people. People here live easily, gently with each other, and are ready to help strangers. I feel that, as I mentioned in that podcast episode about how character determines destiny, my personality seems to have changed a lot since moving here. I've become less prickly and more gentle. And I'm truly grateful to Saigon and its people for teaching me, tempering me, loving me, and being patient with me. Everything requires a certain trade-off, you know. Once we've bravely made a choice, we also need to equip ourselves properly so as not to be overwhelmed. I've had very lonely and tiring times in Saigon, but it was never as lonely as in Hanoi. Because during the time I was back there, even though I was surrounded by familiar people, I still felt empty. But here, even when I feel alone, somehow I always find a place for myself, maybe a 24-hour convenience store to grab dinner, or a coffee shop where I read books on weekends, or some restaurant. It seems that when you live in Saigon, going out alone doesn't feel strange or awkward. Even though I had negative thoughts and didn't really like it before, it's clear that we need to make a decision and truly live in a place to understand it. 2022 is also the year I set some goals that I've never done before. They are quite new, and I'm encountering many difficulties during this time, as everything is still very vague. But I still want to challenge myself with more things. Only then, looking back someday, will I have no regrets. People often regret the things they haven't done, you know, the decisions we hesitated on, the things we didn't try, the experiences we missed out on. We rarely regret what we have done, right? So this new year, I hope you'll be braver to step out of your comfort zone. You can start with newer things you might be a little hesitant or scared about, wondering, can I do it? Is it too hard for me? Will it be okay? But Sandy is sure you'll be fine. We shouldn't let this life go to waste, right? If we have a pair of shoes we love, we should obviously wear them often. If we love them too much and keep them in the closet, eventually, as we grow up, the shoes might no longer fit. Or someday, when we're no longer young, no longer eager to explore, that's probably when we'll feel the most regret and long to return to the years when we were healthy, young, could go everywhere without getting tired, could climb mountains and dive into the sea. In 2022, I've set some goals for myself that I've never pursued before, and I'll definitely share them with you after I've experienced them in the coming time. I also hope that you will have more exciting things to do so that we don't miss out on any moment in this life. It sounds like a lot, but if we do nothing, just sit there being scared and worried, then opportunities will never come. Wonderful things will never come. We'll always be confined to our own comfort zone. But in reality, nothing is truly safe, because even the earth keeps spinning. It doesn't stop. Everything is in flux, everything changes, and so do we. The more we explore, the more we understand ourselves, the more we understand this world. And that seems like a truly magical journey as we live this life. Right now, whatever you want, write it down. List all your desires, set goals for them, whether you want to achieve them in 5 years, 3 years, or even this year. List them out and start working towards them. Sandy isn't saying you won't feel a little fear and worry, but that's precisely what pushes us to overcome our limits, to break through the safety we've held onto for so long. Sometimes, a little risk is actually exciting, don't you think? Even though I'm someone who tends to overthink and plan far ahead, and I usually choose safe options that aren't too risky, I do make careful considerations for taking calculated risks, where if something goes wrong, I can still handle it. Once I choose to be adventurous, I make sure to equip myself with a backpack full of knowledge, courage, and effort to pursue my goals, even if they are very difficult and make me apprehensive. In 2022, we need more courage. Maybe we're not truly confident yet, and are very worried about our future plans, but be brave and give yourself a chance to try. At the same time, prepare a backpack with all the necessary things so we can fight. Let's write an amazing 2022 in our own way, and a year from now, we'll come back together here to share what we've accomplished or haven't accomplished over the past year. Thank you, Saigon, for why Sandy is who she is today. Thank you, Saigon, for giving Sandy the opportunities to experience, grow, and become the person I am now. And of course, I still thank Hanoi for giving me meaningful and unforgettable student years. Thank you, Ha Tin, my beloved hometown, a place I'm always proud to mention. And finally, thank you, amazing listeners, for tuning in. Without you, we definitely wouldn't have this podcast. My podcast will air regularly every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you in the next episodes.